hell? Is that a cat? There's a cat. Why was that on the floor? So today in this video, I would like to talk about AI artists, and I would just like to rebut some of the common arguments they use as to why they want to use AI to generate art. The main one you hear all the time is because, oh, they don't have time. They say, I don't have time to draw. If you have time to be on the internet arguing that you don't have time to draw, you have time to draw. If you have time to be writing prompts into ChatGPT, into Gemini, into all these other AI art programs, you have time to sit down and draw. If you have time to complain that you're not good at art, you have time to get good at art. In the big year 2025, everybody has a little bit of time. Anyone who says that they don't have any time is lying. Guaranteed, people go home after work. Even if they don't have an hour left, they will be scrolling or watching Netflix or doing something. You have a little bit of time. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day you can spend drawing. 5 minutes a day equates to, what, 35 minutes across the week. 2 weeks, you got an hour. That's an hour more than you would have had you done no drawing. Like, you have time. That's just an excuse. That's not a reason, that's an excuse. The second argument they bring up a lot is they don't have the resources. If you have a pen and a piece of paper, that's all you need. If you have a phone, which you would be using to watch this, you have the resources. Ibis Paint is free. If you can't afford a drawing program, you can sail the 7 seas and acquire it that way. If you have white walls in your house and a finger and shit, smear it on the wall. That's a resource. There's absolutely no excuse as to why you can't afford to just buy a pencil and buy a sketchbook. They're not that expensive. They cost less than like a meal at McDonald's, and you'll get way much more out of it. Another excuse, another argument they make is, oh, it makes art more accessible. What do you mean more accessible? There are more independent artists than there are artists in the art industry. There's millions upon millions upon millions of people making their own creations, making their own stories, making their own little animatics, making their own series just in their bedrooms, on their phones, on their PCs, on their laptops, than there are like actual artists in the art industry. Anyone can make art. Anyone can use social media and post their art. Art is already very accessible. You don't need to have this pro quality artwork just to be able to put your art out there. AI generated art, all the art from that it learns from is just being scraped from already existing artists. Like, think DeviantArt back in the day when people were just posting their pencil sketches. Like, it's always been accessible. Another argument they say is, oh, but I'll never be good at art. You'll never be good at anything with that kind of mindset. You won't be good at breathing if you think, oh, I don't know how to breathe. Like, before AI art was a thing, how did they think people got good at drawing? Did they see Jim Lee drawing DC Comics and was like, oh shit, I have no idea how he could have done that. That is absolutely impossible. They look at professional chefs cooking like 5-star meals and they think, I don't know how they do it. I don't know the process at which someone would get good at something. Like, does the concept of practice and does the concept of determination just not exist in their brain? I can't fathom, like, they read a book, right, from a professional author and they're like, how does someone write like this? How does someone figure out how to put words together in such a way that it's compelling? Like, do you not consider just doing something more and more till you get better at it? I can't fathom someone having that mentality of just having no faith in themselves, having absolutely no confidence in their own ability, that the second they want to do something creative, rather than using their own brain, rather than using their own creative juices, putting effort into making something that's theirs and theirs alone, they will just outsource it to a robot. Imagine you're doing a group project, right? And you're doing all the hard work, you're doing the research, you're doing the PowerPoint, you're doing everything, and then someone in your team is doing jack shit, and then at the end they get the grade, the A-star grade. You'd be pissed off because you're like, that's my work. Why are they taking credit for the work that I did? You didn't do shit. You shouldn't be proud. I should be proud. That's my work. So it applies to, how can you generate something and then be like, oh, that was me. No, it wasn't you. It's like the analogy of, imagine you have a pro pizza maker in Italy, spinning the dough, making the tomato sauce, doing the toppings, put it in the oven, amazing, beautiful. And then some buffoon calls up Domino's, says, yeah, I want this on the pizza. They deliver it, and he's like, that's my pizza. I made that. That was all me. This pizza wouldn't have existed if I called up Domino's. No, you didn't. Obviously, I understand where they're coming from. Some people just want things that's quick and easy. The people who use AI to generate art would not have made art in the first place. Had these AI tools not existed, they would have never started to make art. I've been drawing since I was 11. Been drawing because I love like Ben 10 and Avatar The Last Airbender generate. I've been drawing because I love creating. I just love the creation process. These people who generate art, they don't love the creation process, because the biggest part of making a comic or making an animation is the creative part. I used to do animation in university. You would spend 4 weeks on an animation that's 30 seconds long, probably even less. So the culmination of that month was just for 30 seconds. They cannot fathom that. They can't think, oh my god, why the hell would I want to spend so much time on something that has so little outcome to it? They don't see the progress as a reward in and of itself. Like for me, when I finished my comic, it took me probably hundreds of hours, 200, 300 hours total, maybe more, to completely make that comic. I can still read that again and again and again. If you just AI generated an image, you're not going to want to look at it for that long. I just busted out an AI image which took 3 seconds to generate, or a minute to generate. It's not impressive. If an artist has spent hundreds of hours working on something and the outcome is only a minute long, that minute is a culmination of hundreds of hours of work. It gives it more meaning. That's passion, that's soul. An AI generated animation that took 5 minutes to generate and it's also a minute long, there's no passion behind it, there's no soul behind it, there's no actual meaning behind it. That's the difference. You look at one drawing that took hours and hours and hours and real thought, and there was a process behind it to make, and then that's impressive. And you have one that took someone clacking and they busted it out. Even them, they're not going to want to look at it for that long, because they're just going to want to make another one, because it doesn't take that long for them to make another one. Like for them, it's just quantity over quality. It's just quantity, more. But for an actual artist, when they finish making a drawing, you really admire it. At least for me, when I finish a drawing that took me a long time, I'm obsessed with it for a long time. Even still, I will go back and look at it. These AI artists, they are not going back to look at the art that they have generated because they don't care about it. There's nothing to care about it. There's no story behind it. There's no meaning behind it. They busted it out in 2 minutes. That OC, you spent ages and ages and years designing and making reference sheets for and drawing them in different poses and in different scenes. You love that. You will go back and look at that and think about the story behind those drawings. An AI artist is not going to think about the story behind those drawings, because there is no story behind those drawings. There's nothing behind it. It's empty, blank. They say a picture tells 1,000 words. AI images, they don't tell shit. They tell lies. This has been a very aggressive video. I know how I said a couple of videos ago, I don't hate AI art. I don't hate the AI art. I would just really rather the people who generate it understand that it's not the outcome that matters, it's the process. And I guarantee you, those AI artists, they don't look at their drawings when they're drawings. They don't look at the art they've produced when it's done. They just move to the next one because it has no meaning. They don't care about it. When I finish a drawing, I care about it. It's not empty. It took hours to make, maybe even days, weeks, months. You're attached to it. There's nothing to get attached to with AI art. That's the thing. Even if you think, oh, but this prompt took so long to... No, it didn't. If you are an artist who's still pushing forward in 2025, good on you. Keep doing it, because I promise you, AI art will not last long, because we know when there is like meaning and soul and passion behind something. We would all rather someone have a really terrible art style who can't draw, no anatomy, can't colour, can't shade, no nothing, no perspective. We would rather that than some really cool looking AI generated thing that was busted out in 3 seconds. I promise you, I would rather look at a 3-year-old scribbling, drawing all over the walls, dragging a permanent marker down my arm. I would rather that than look at the stuff that's being pumped out. Hello, Editing Nia here. I hope you enjoyed that little ramble of me once again explaining my thought process on why AI art will not take over and why real artists will reign triumphant. The rest of the speed drawings is basically what a frame of the animated show would look like. I'm going to produce a lot more of these. In the coming videos, I'm going to go into more detail about actually producing a comic for the first issue of what Marvel 4S will look like. I'm going to break down the process of writing the comic and also storyboarding it, because making comics is like, I love it. So I'm really excited. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, or what is left of it.